So very rusty.
It's
Let's
been
see
so
how it
long since I
goes.
heard those beautiful words, recording in progress.
Progress. Yeah, and then longer before you hear recording stopped.
Welcome to what I'm dubbing the second season of the Two Dads Talking podcast. It has been a couple of
That's fair.
months because Doug decided he needed a vacation and decided
Yeah.
he needed some time to open up his heart to the world. And we're going to let him talk about that a little bit today, but it is really good to be back. And Doug is looking svelte, and he's got a nice little haircut, and he's trimmed down, and he's looking sprightly, and he's drinking a new bourbon. So I'm super excited about this tonight.
Yeah, it's I mean, half of those things were on accident. So
But they're still
actually I
real.
think the bourbon was deliberate, but the rest was kind of an accident. Yeah, it's been a trip. I mean, I don't know. Do we want to talk about any of the other stuff first, or just get the heart stuff out of the way, the opening heart stuff out of the way first?
Let's get the hard stuff out of the way because that's the
Yeah,
elephant in the
okay.
room, and that's why we haven't recorded in forever. And
It's been 2 months or 3 months or something, maybe even more. Actually, I don't know. I'd have to check the exact timing. But so
I think it was the whole month of November is when this is. I think it was the first week in November or so this started, right?
okay, well, all right. Well, then let's just get to it. So the really, 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 really short version of the story is I had open heart surgery. That's what happened. That's why it's been a while. I don't know. Have Tom, and this is a serious question. I just don't know. Have I talked about my first heart surgery ever on the podcast before? Or
We
no,
talked
did I
about it
reference it?
yeah, we referenced it briefly. You mentioned it once. I think it
No,
might have been the legacy episode, but you talked about,
maybe.
how the doctors had told you that there's a percentile chance that this won't go well, that you won't come out of this. And it made you think about
Okay.
life differently. Like you talked about that very lightly at one point.
Okay.
But
Yeah,
I
I just
didn't
didn't
realize
know
you
if
had
I
like a
ever did.
I didn't know you had like a nylon sleeve inserted into a valve, like all the details of it. I didn't know until this happened. So I don't
Yeah.
think you've given us
Oh,
any details.
well, I'll try to give some details. Now, for the record, for anyone who is listening who's also squeamish, I'll try to call out the parts that are a little bit squeamish. Really, in my mind, there's only one part that's really squeamish, and I'll try to call that out ahead of time just in case you're that type. You, like, pull over on the side of the road so you don't crash for a second.
Well, we
But
almost
I'll
killed
try to.
Charles with the hamster joke. We don't want to do that to another patron,
That's
right?
true. That's not. There's a different adjective for what that was.
That's true.
Squeamish is not the adjective.
That's fair.
So, well, let's try to do this in like the 20 minutes or less game. So, when I was born, I had what's called a heart murmur. And that's just a generic term for something that's not quite right with your heart. Mine in particular was something called aortic stenosis. You usually seen, videos of the heart pumping and some heart valves and stuff like that. If you've ever seen any of the valves where the flaps open and close, sometimes you'll see ones where they're like two flaps, like it's a circle, and then each is kind of like a half, and it kind of spreads open and closed, like a slit right down the middle. If you've seen the ones where there's three flaps, it's kind of like it looks like sort of like it's just a circle with like three sort of triangles that open up, and they all kind of open out and then close back up. There's both kinds in the valves, but the aortic valve is one of the ones with three, and they call that a tricuspid, bicuspid, tricuspid for the number of flaps. When I was born, two of those flaps were fused together, so they did not open independently. So try to imagine these three flaps they open kind of out and away, and the blood flows through and out of the heart. And then the flaps close and, stops the blood from flowing for a second, and that's part of the pumping, the heartbeat. With two of those flaps fused together, the blood can't flow out straight. It basically kind of hits that wall of those two fused flaps and kind of curls under the little hole of the one flap that's actually free and opening. And because of that, I guess it's some sort of fluid dynamics thing, I was always getting backflow of blood. So instead of just blood going through and then being shut off, it would go through,
Back
and
in.
some of it would kind of get sucked back into the heart when the one flap kind of came back closed. And it turns out more and more data, they, saw better images of it this time finally with more stuff. But even my one free valve was partially fused at its kind of like base. So it wasn't even completely free on its own. So the one doctor said it's almost a unicuspid. And I'm like, that's impossible. It just means I wouldn't open. He's like, well, whatever. So that's what I had. That was what I was born with. I've lived with that my whole life. When I was 20 years old, basically, I needed heart surgery. And It was because of a technically unrelated problem. It's one of those correlations, like, they see it a lot more with people with heart problems. But if you can envision, like, your science textbook and the picture of the heart, the big red, artery coming out of the top of the heart, that's your aorta. And at the base of it, partially inside, partially outside the heart, is the bulb that contains this aortic valve and, kind of all that extra stuff. The aorta, like, coming out of the heart, for me, it kept growing, if you will, even when the rest of me stopped growing.
You were like the Grinch. Your heart just kept growing.
Yeah, but and I, like, when I first saw the Grinch, and they're like, his heart grew 3 sizes, and I was like, the Grinch is dead.
Yeah,
But
it's not good.
but it's not good. That's really not good for him. So the one doctor way back when described it to me, I think, in a good way. They said, imagine a garden hose. It's got a certain thickness, and fluid flows through it. But now imagine you started making the garden hose wider. The wall of the hose would start getting thinner as you expanded it. And eventually it would rupture, just completely burst open. That's
Yep.
bad. You're basically dead in a minute. Or it would sort of like spring a leak. And what happens to a hose with kind of a bad leak, it starts coiling on itself and crimping and, like, tangling up a little bit. And they said that's basically what would happen if my aorta ruptured from eventually getting too thin. And if you have the coil thing, it's apparently almost impossible to fix, but depending
Yikes.
upon what happens. And you still live because it kind of plugs itself, but that's like no more sports, nothing strenuous. Like, you're basically a pedestrian, like, your whole life kind of
Yeah.
deal. So both are bad, especially when you're a 20-year-old male.
Right.
So set that up, did the surgery, and now, okay, here's the real squeamish part. But by the way, I think it's really, really cool how they do this. And I wonder how many people, like, died to figure all this stuff out to eventually get there,
Right.
or literally some crazy person was like, let's try this. And everyone was like, sure, why not? And then, like, sure, let's just follow the crazy guy and do the stupid random ass thing. How they figure this out, I don't know. But they make an incision straight down the middle of your chest, like, right, in between the ribs. I don't know. Like, for me, it's probably like literally almost a foot, like, top to bottom.
And like
They
right across the sternum is what I'm picturing.
Yeah, like, literally straight down, like, it's right, it's basically, like, think about kinda right below your collarbone all the way down to, yeah, just your below your sternum.
Okay.
Open up your skin, they cut your sternum, and then they bend your ribs, like, up and out, like, pull them up and open,
Okay.
so they're actually kinda bent out of
Wow.
your body.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the reason for all the chest pain,
Yeah.
basically, after this
Yeah.
surgery is really just that, the
Yikes.
damage and bruising from that. Then what they do, and this is where, my mind was like, I said, who came up with this idea? They cool down your heart, and they make it so cold that it stops beating and stops moving, and basically make the tissue inert and stop moving, like, the whole deal. Right as that happens, or, like, is starting to happen, and this is where all the people come in, they cut all of your veins and arteries attached to your heart.
Yep.
And then they attach them to these kinda like tubes on this machine,
Like a
and
pump.
it's basically an oxygen pump, and
Yeah.
it replaces your heart for oxygen and, taking care of carbon dioxide and everything else. Like, it's just it and so all your stuff is hooked up to this machine right next to you. They keep your heart cold, pull it out of you, put it on the table or whatever, and they start working on it. And
Hmm.
then they do whatever they're supposed to do, and then they start letting the heart warm back up again, and they must just have the timing relatively down, or just kinda know something to look for. I should have asked this time, like, I've done it
Yeah.
twice, I should have figured this out by now.
Well, for the third trip, you can ask him next time. Yeah.
Third time's the charm. So, then right before it starts beating again, they put your heart back in, hook you all back up, and it just starts beating, I guess, before you die,
Well,
from everything. They just have it timed nicely and everything like that. So the first, and they did this both times, by the way, for both surgeries. That's the deal. Whenever you have to work on anything that's actually the heart, or, directly connected to it. So the first time that what they call the ascending aorta, the first part coming out of your heart, they replaced that with a nylon tube, and just because that will not expand and burst and all that stuff. And so they basically sewed that onto one end on the heart, and then sewed it to the other end, and that was it. That is probably a 4-ish hour surgery, a little bit more, and that was, just they talked about replacing my bad heart valve during that, but at the time, the 2 choices were a mechanical valve, which meant I'm on a blood thinner every day for the rest of my life. I have to have it recalibrated every month for the rest of my life. They're talking about a 20-year-old, like, you don't wanna do that to a 20-year-old. The other option was literally pig valves, like, they take valves out of pigs, and they basically work well with human valves, and they said that you really don't get more than 15 years out of those, though, and at the time, at least, they did not have too many people who even had more than 2 or 3 heart surgeries in their life, and there were some more complications for, like, a 4th one, so now they're sitting there thinking they don't wanna start me on pig valves because now I'm, like, 60,
Going for your
maybe
4th,
at
yeah.
best 60, 65, and they're like, "Well, like, let's see if we can,
Yeah.
should we do anything more to this guy? Maybe we're setting him up for an early grave," and my valve was good enough that they just didn't touch it, so I still had my bad valve. They fixed this sort of, you know, issue on the side that they found.
Hmm.
So fast forward to whatever, what would that be, 10-ish weeks ago or something like that. I'm sitting with my wife, we're watching my daughter at one of her little basketball camp practices with the school, and I just looked at her and I'm like, "I'm gonna be sick tomorrow." You just kinda feel it. I kinda had a
Yeah.
little budding headache thing behind my eyes, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna be sick tomorrow." And it just I was. I had a real bad time. I figured it was, one of those real bad 2-day kinds of things, and you get over it. It didn't feel any weirder or any different. But I started to feel better on the Wednesday. It was like the 3rd day, and I thought, "Yep, see, I was right. I'm just gonna start to get through it." But then I felt bad again on Thursday. I'm using, like, for my lunch breaks, I'm basically taking a Tylenol and napping just to get through the workday. And I got through to the weekend, and I started to feel better again. I'm sitting there thinking, this was really long for me. I'm usually not sick this long. It must have been because I kept forcing myself through work. I can kinda take the weekend to recover.
Yeah.
But I just started feeling like total shit again, a week later, Sunday to Sunday kinda thing, and so, you know what? Let's go to an urgent care, let's get a blood culture and see what's going on. I get a call around midnight and or even, like, well, maybe 1 AM, I can't remember, I woke up to it, and they're like, "Yeah, go to the hospital." So
Get there now.
so early morning, they're like, "You don't have to go right now, but, like, that's, like, the first thing you're doing."
And were you
So
experiencing the amnesiac episodes that you had mentioned already at this point? Like, is this something that
no,
was already happening
not
or
no, not yet. So,
Mhm.
drop the kiddos off at school, actually, go straight to the hospital after that, and I'm just feeling, super poopy, and we get there and, I we're driving in the parking lot and go through security, and basically what had happened was I got this bacterial infection. Apparently, it's one of those bacterias that's kind of in and out of mostly everybody. Like, we all just kinda have it,
Yeah.
floating around in our and mostly in our mouths, apparently, because they even did, like, a dental checkup for me, and
Hmm.
long story short, it doesn't usually actually take a foothold in most anybody, but when it does, it can be, real nasty. And so that's what happened. This thing got a foothold in me and was, just really messing with me. And the infectious disease doctor actually said he said rough numbers. It kind of varies. Like he said, for example, drug users or people, with diabetes or people like me with already pre-existing conditions, they'll have a higher chance of getting this infection than, like, a regular healthy person. But he said, like, football stadium full of people, you're talking like 15 or 20 people, like, ever
Wow.
really get this to where it's nasty. Like, it's really a pretty low occurring thing. And it usually comes in through the mouth, through some sort of bleeding or gap or whatever around your teeth. They checked, I didn't have any of that. So they're not sure exactly how it got in me, but whatever.
So many jokes I wanna make, but it's the first night back, I won't. You're recovering.
I mean, you can say 1 or 2. I mean, I personally and, whether you're this type or not, I think this is gonna sound stupid, but I think God gave me this infection
Yeah.
because of the rest of the stuff,
Yep.
because it did not happen the way it's supposed to happen. They don't know exactly how I got it. It's not a huge deal anyway, but they couldn't find out how I actually got this thing.
But it led to
Um,
the discovery of everything else.
right. So they start giving me antibiotics right away when I'm in the hospital. Within, like, a couple of days, it completely clears my blood. Completely gone, doing great, except hey, this guy has extensive heart problems and he had this really bad infection. And it turns out from past history, sometimes this sucker can affect your heart. So I'm getting an MRI, a CAT scan, a CTA, which is a different kind of CT CAT scan. I'm getting echocardiograms, I'm getting EKGs, I'm getting x-rays, like basically every type of
Everything.
imaging
Yeah.
that they could possibly do. And, I was literally scanned from head to toe in the hospital for this first week here locally. And they find out that this infection, the antibiotics took it out of the blood, but it decided to basically set up shop on my aortic bulb, like on my heart valve area there. And it was not letting go. The antibiotics were not getting it. Guess how you get something like that out when it's in a spot like that and antibiotics don't work?
You gotta cut it out, I'd imagine.
Surgery.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a heart surgery anyway, baby. So
Ugh.
all these other images that they pulled, they don't actually know. They said the infection could have accelerated some of this stuff, but I had some calcium buildup that was going to be maybe a problem in anyone's guess 2 to 3 years. I had some more hindered heart valve function throughout this too, that they were saying you're 6 to 8 months from needing something anyway.
Wow.
It's if they discovered this now anyway, they're talking about doing something now anyway. So that's why I'm wondering if the infection wasn't secretly like, hey guys, look at this stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, fun times. So I get transferred up to Cleveland, which is great because we can't find someone to do that for 2 days. That was awesome. And then I'm there for the next 3 weeks. I get the open heart surgery. Same kind of thing happens. They cut through the sternum, bend me open. Sorry, squeamish. And this time, it's a much more involved surgery because they have decided now, with the heart valve being even worse, that they're going to replace my heart valve. And they're not completely sure exactly where the infection is. Like, the imaging is only so good. It's pretty good. They know essentially where it is, but they won't know where it all is until they get in there. So their checklist is, once they open me up and cool down my heart and, hook everything else up to that machine, they have to scrape, clean, cut, whatever, get rid of every single bit of this bacterial infection that they
Right.
possibly can that's on my heart. They have to replace my heart valve, which means replacing the entire basically deal. They can do a mechanical valve still and just replace the valve part. But if the rest of the bulb, the root around it is too damaged from the infection, they need to replace that whole sucker.
Because it can't support the mechanical structure, basically.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay.
Correct. Yeah. And they ended up needing to do that because I was apparently ripped to shreds in there. And then guess what? I have this nylon thing from the previous surgery that's inorganic material.
Yeah.
And they don't want any bacteria or anything to latch onto that because that can create spores and be literally a never ending problem.
Yeah.
So they have to cut that out. And so what I have is something that they call a homograft, which is cadaver,
Yep.
dead guy's heart valve. And they replaced they actually had to take 2 homografts, I guess, and splice them together to make this whole
Oh, 'cause your heart's
aortic
so big. Aw.
yeah, like the
You're such a
Grinch.
big-hearted person.
Yep, only 2 times though. And so, yeah, the whole deal now, I'm all organic again, and ironically, this is the first time in my life that I've had a properly functioning aortic valve. It's a
Wow.
tricuspid, everything works. Yeah, I had the bad one the whole time otherwise, so that's the story in a nutshell. The rest of it was I had to stay in the ICU for a week and a half after the surgery, which will drive you nuts, by the way, when
Sure.
the wall outlets were upside down. The cabinet handles, 2 of them were not where they were supposed to be. Honestly, it was very not aesthetically pleasing to see one, off center when it didn't match its counterpart on the other side. I have room with no windows. When you're in the ICU, you're hooked up to stuff constantly so that, they make sure you, don't die and stuff. So
Yeah.
I'm literally basically lying in a bed all day, every day. I can adjust it to sit or lie down or whatever, but that's it. I get maybe a walk or 2 a day for 5 minutes if I ask for it.
Wow. That
And what my
sucks.
heart had done, and it happens sometimes after surgeries like this apparently, I don't understand it, but my heart rhythm was being stupid, and there's levels to this, and mine went into something called complete heart block, which is level 3. They don't care about level 1 because whatever, I guess it's not a huge deal, but my heart started out in level 2, which was some different arrhythmias, and then it went into this complete heart block, which sounds really bad, but what it actually is when your heart beats, it's got these two electrical pathways. They're like the top one and the bottom one, and the signal goes to each one and stops at each node. That pauses it for a second, and that's what regulates your heartbeat. And then, it can speed it up or slow it down based on what the body's telling it to do. In complete heart block, these two pathways are not communicating correctly. So the heart's just doing basically whatever the fuck it wants to do. It's just beating randomly. It's beating heavier. I can tell you it is extremely uncomfortable. And it
Yeah.
is really hard to even sleep at night when this is happening to you. So what that caused, because it did not go away for multiple days, I had multiple days of this really, really, really annoying thing. They decided they wanted to put a pacemaker in me, because if anything ever triggered and my heart rate dropped extremely low, I could literally pass out for a second.
Yeah.
And the pacemaker, would stop that. So that was the next thing to happen. The final part too, which I sent a picture of this to Tom because I just thought it was so fun. I could have stayed in the hospital for an extra, 4 weeks after all this when I was getting ready to go and just keep taking my antibiotics every day, or I could go home and take home antibiotics. But when your antibiotics have to run past your heart and you need to have an IV line, and again, don't understand half of this stuff, but your typical IV line that goes in your arm or your hand, that really doesn't last more than 4 or 5 days.
Yeah.
It starts to, it's something like with pressure or going bad or length or whatever. Eventually it can start to hurt when anything gets run through it. So to fix that, they have to put in a much longer IV line, and that's what can last you weeks, months, whatever, when it's like really fully embedded and like completely like in your system, more or less. And they call those a PICC line, PICC. And I had one of those puppies. They put it on my upper arm, and it was basically 42 millimeters running through my veins, and it actually curled up in my arm, up through my shoulders, around down my chest, and within like a couple of, centimeters of my heart, so that the antibiotics would shoot through and start going past the heart first and get pumped through the rest of the body. So I had that in for 4 weeks. I had to do antibiotics every day with that. And taking it out is like super easy. I didn't even know the way you did it. She basically told me, hold your breath. And then she was like, okay. And I was like, what? It's like, we're done. I was
We're
like,
done.
what? Like I didn't feel a thing. I thought I'd feel something like move through me or whatever.
Mm.
Ugh. And by the way, the procedure to get that thing put in, holy crap, was that annoying.
Gotta be crazy uncomfortable. It
Well,
has to be.
you're awake for it. And they bring you into like your 55-degree room, put you down to your skivvies, put a towel over your junk or whatever, and put you on this little thin little metal table that's all
Sounds
super
like a
cold.
vasectomy so far.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Kind
Well,
of
it
the
was
same,
not that.
same thing there.
Well, did they take a gigantic blue, like, paper towel blanket thing and cover you entirely with it?
Except for
Where
your
you can't see
junk, because
anything?
the doctor is sitting between your legs while they're held spread
Oh,
apart, and the doctor, while
that's
you're
fair.
awake, is putting in a nerve blocker and then cutting you
Yeah.
open and talking to you while he's playing with your stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, of course. Oh, yeah, this was like one of those big blankets with a little, like, gap where your arm was, they could work on it, and
Interesting. Yeah.
they do the same thing, they do this local numbing, but it's this little, like, pen kinda thing that they just prick you with, and it kinda hurts, and
Oh,
it adds the numbing in that little, like, area on your arm, but
okay.
they do it throughout the procedure. So you're lying, and it kinda hurt. So,
I'm
like, as you're
sure.
lying
Yeah.
there, don't move your arm and stuff like that, and I'm like, "Ow, fuck, ow, fuck." Like, it really was very uncomfortable for, like, a good hour of him just doing this on and off. Ugh, and they had problems too with they literally had entire discussions twice of like, "Should we go this way or should we go this way?" Because they use an X-ray machine and kinda, like, track your veins and
Yeah.
track this thing through, and then they have to measure it and make sure they got enough. That's also pretty cool. Like, it's cool if it's not you that it actually has to be done
Sure.
to.
For
They
me
put
sitting in
this
this chair, it sounds cool.
Yeah,
For you, it's probably less. Yeah.
they take this, like, really thin, like, metal wire, basically, put it in your skin like an IV, and then they very slowly, basically, like, weasel it through your veins, like, your
Yep.
arteries.
And they just follow it
I
with the
guess it's
tube.
veins.
Yeah.
Well, and they move this X-ray machine along with it to try to, like, see just ahead of where they're going, and so they just kind of slowly work it through your body,
Hmm.
and then once it's all the way as far as they think they can reliably get it, then they take this little plastic tube and they run it over the metal line, and then the metal line just guides the tube all the way down to the end, and then, with the tube now protecting it, they pull the metal wire out.
Yeah.
and that's your line. And it was just that's kind of cool to me. But it sucks getting it because you just basically are like cursing the whole time.
Yeah.
Getting the pacemaker was a lot more fun because they gave me the like harder drug that makes you feel kind of loopy. I'm pretty sure I fell asleep like 8 times. I
Let's
woke
see, are
up to
you
me
awake when they
snoring
put the pacemaker in? I would assume you'd be under.
mostly. So I
Okay.
definitely fell asleep more than once because I kind of woke up to like me snoring on
Okay.
these people. But yeah, but I was awake for the majority of it. I think I honestly slept because I was trying to catch up on sleep with all my time in the ICU. They wake
Yeah.
you up every 4 hours for vitals, by the way. They woke me up for an X-ray every night. The bed's already uncomfortable. Like I didn't get a single good night of sleep the entire time in the hospital, which is miserable.
I remember your wife
But
being like texting your wife and calling her a couple of times, and her just being like, I am so mad that they're waking him up as often as they're waking him up. And I don't know why they won't just
yep,
let him sleep. And she was, I mean, I could
she was
hear it
mad.
in her text messages. I could hear how mad she was.
She
They
was real
would not
mad.
let you get a good night's sleep. So I'd imagine that was awful.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. But so yeah, that was a whole other issue. The pacemaker is supposed to be like 2-ish hours for the procedure. Mine was 4.5 hours. 4 hours, I guess, closer to 4 hours. And it was because the guy had trouble actually having the wires rest. That with the pacemaker, for those of you who don't know, they run these wires with little electric tips like into your heart, like into your heart tissue. And they place them so that they'll generally, stick where they're supposed to be. And then they hook them up to a little battery that they then insert kind of like in your shoulder or near your shoulder.
Hmm.
And that's the way to do it instead of just trying to fire some big thing towards your heart. They do it that way. And this guy had apparently real problems actually getting the wires to rest in my heart tissue. And I'm going to get that checked on Monday to make sure it's still all good because it takes a couple weeks and your heart tissue kind of grows around them and then they're kind of secure. Like I've not been allowed to lift my left arm above my shoulder or do much of anything with it like the whole time I'm supposed
Yeah.
to take that. Yeah, that procedure was just fine. I basically didn't feel a thing, but I listened to them like freak out about what they were doing, did not realizing this was 4 hours as I'm like falling asleep and stuff. But that was the second most painful experience of my entire hospital visit at the end because after they hook up the wires to this little battery, they just shove that puppy right into your shoulder and then close you up.
Yikes.
And if you've ever had like it's basically like it's not even the size of a AAA battery, like it's a smaller thing, but it's basically like shoving a gigantic pill like straight into your chest, like right into your tissue and stuff, and that hurt like a bitch.
Yeah, it doesn't sound good.
Yeah, so that's my story. Oh, and I forgot this, in the second surgery, this one I just had, because it was gonna be so extensive, all this extra cleaning out of an infection, taking out the nylon piece from the previous surgery, taking 2 cadaver pieces and, like, Frankensteining them together, all that, that takes so much longer. That's more like an 8-hour procedure instead of the 4 hours from before. They actually made a second incision up on my other shoulder as an extra bypass just in case.
Wow.
And yeah, that was fun too. My surgeon also said my coronary arteries, which are the tiny little arteries kind of that rest on the top crest of your heart, they kind of plug into the side of your aorta if you've ever seen those. Apparently mine are weird. Those can be pretty unique based
Hmm.
on the person. And so she waited to make sure a coronary specialist was in there with her just to make sure, I don't
Yeah.
know, that things got hooked up right for me
Yeah.
again. So I basically got run through the ringer on this one. Had a little bit of everything.
Huh.
So I hope
And
that
all
was
this
20
happened
minutes.
over all this happened right over Thanksgiving, and, like,
That's
obviously,
right.
holidays makes it hard, and
Well, you know how weird it is to be eating air quotes Thanksgiving thing from like a hospital cafeteria,
I mean, I
and
did
then
the Army cafeteria Thanksgivings for a number of years. I imagine it's
well,
probably pretty similar. The Army one's probably
probably
actually a lot better. I would guess mine was
for
probably
something
better.
like that, maybe I don't
Yeah,
know, but you have to deal with the irony because this really did happen. Of my surgery is going to be on Black Friday.
right.
Maybe it's not a good Black Friday this time.
So from the dad
Ugh.
perspective, like, I got a couple of questions I'm curious about.
No.
Having the 3 young kids, how did you talk to them about this? How much do they know, and how did you guys talk to them about this? Because I can't imagine that was easy for your wife, and I don't imagine you were in a good place to do it. So how did those conversations happen, and how much did you guys talk to your kids about all this?
Well, it ends up being remember when daddy was in the hospital for that really long time.
Okay.
That's the most so the 2-year-old, whatever, he didn't really understand what was going on. He obviously, like, "Oh, here's daddy," "Daddy's here now," but he didn't seem to be asking too many questions most of the time. The 5-year-old, she understood that I wasn't around for a while, but it didn't really hit her. Like, even after I got home, she would just ask questions, and I was just like, "Yeah, remember when daddy was in the hospital for a while?" And she was like, "Maybe." Just, wasn't always clicking. I think she didn't really understand the gravity of it. She understood that for some reason I had to be there, but it didn't register.
Yeah.
The 7-year-old, it apparently hit her pretty hard. Like, yeah, I have talked to her about some of the stuff they've done, and she's asked some questions, and my wife said that, "Hey, he's out of surgery, you can go see him now." And for the record, after a surgery like that, you're under a bunch of blankets. You have a tube in your throat that's helping you breathe for a little bit, while the drugs wear off.
It's probably not a
Other
good
s-
sight for the kid, right?
other stuff. Oh yeah, apparently our 7-year-old like started crying
Yeah.
when she saw me, and I'm in La La Land at this point. I don't know about any of this happening. I didn't wasn't there for that visit, but apparently that really kind of messed with her. And we tried to have them. They stayed with their grandparents for a week, to keep going to school through all this, and that was not good. They definitely were. That was a rough week for them. So ended up just taking them out of school for a week just to be around me at the hospital, just so they
Yeah.
could see me pretty much every day at least once, and that seemed to help a little bit. So I even left out the fun stuff too. They track your fluids after the surgery with chest tubes
Mhm.
because they want to make sure you're not bleeding too much essentially, and they literally measure how much is coming out of you every day, and then when it's low enough they pull those because you're good now. And these jerks did not use my old chest tube sites. They used 3 new ones. So
Ooh.
like my chest is kind of look like a connect the dots right now with everything. Ugh, it's
Had your kids
terrible.
get Sharpies and draw on it and,
You
play
almost
games.
could. I mean, luckily the main entertainment site was the exact same spot, the exact same incision spot, but, you know, I've got the bypass thing and the pacemaker scar, and now I've got 6 chest tube sites and, the old pacer wire sites too, and just yeah, it's a mess under here. Probably will be forever, essentially. So this thing apparently should last me around 20 years. If you get lucky, it can go upwards of 25, 30, but they're expecting 20, so I'll probably be back again, at some
Well,
point. And
by then, though, medicine will be so good that they'll just wave a magic wand and you'll be good to go.
I hope so. Apparently the if they do decide to go mechanical with this homograph thing, you can just do a valve replacement real quick. And that's that, like, now they're doing the kind of through your shoulder, through your arm kind of
Sure.
thing where they put in those valves that expand when they reach where they're supposed to be.
Yep.
That's apparently a possibility with this. So I may not actually, God willing, have any invasive surgery again, even when I need something fixed. So we'll see. But yeah, that's where we're at. Oh, and now that it's been 18 years since the first surgery, there is actually more data showing that people can have third and fourth surgeries and have it not be as big of a deal as before.
Sure.
And especially for young people. Fun fact, you know what young means in major heart surgery for medical studies?
I would have guessed like mid to late 60s.
Yeah, it's like under 75 or under
Okay.
65, you're young.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
there's probably not too many people that are like in the under 40 crowd for the
With
for the
4
data
heart
sets.
surgeries? Yeah, I would
Yeah.
hope not.
Or even just multiple. Like there are just
Yeah.
studies about multiple where anyone who's had more than one, and then they apparently try to find anybody they can under 60 with
Yeah.
this.
Well, it's kinda
So
like that it's kinda
it's
like that
funny.
statistic, and I don't have the exact numbers in on my head, but have you ever seen the statistic or the record leader, like, wide receivers in the NFL over the age of 40? Like, the top 5 wide rec or top 5 receptions
No,
for
but it's
people
probably
over
like
40.
8.
Oh, it's
So
worse. Like, the number 5 all time is I forget who it is, but it's somebody for, like, -6 yards, and he's, like, the
Oh,
number
really?
5 all time. And then there's, like, 4 there's, like, a couple of people with -2 ahead of him, and then ahead of him is, like, 100 people with 0.
I
and
was
then
gonna say, like, that
right.
you just play a snap and
Yeah.
just go away and you're
Yep.
3rd place
And you're there.
automatically, yeah.
Yep, automatically. And then, like, number 2 is Tom Brady with, like, 6.
Oh. Oh,
Like,
because he had, like,
he's
one trick play or
right, he had that
something.
one trick play for 6 yards, and it makes
And
him the
then it's
2nd
Jerry Rice,
and
2,000 or
Jerry Rice
something.
for 2,500 or something. Yeah, it's absurd. But it's kinda like that stat, like, you gotta go over the age of 40 and get
There's, like,
receptions.
nothing.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm sure there's, 2,000 of us under the age of 40 with multiple heart surgeries in the
yeah.
US, but when
It's
you think
still a
about
pretty small
population, that's a
number.
pretty small percentage
Yeah, sure
despite the
is.
thousands. So, yeah,
Well,
that was why we have not recorded for a long time was because I was busy being lazy, just lying
yeah,
around all
just
day.
lying around all the time.
Yeah, and they brought I got to come home. It was great. I was going absolutely nuts in my ICU room. Again, no window, bad outlets, bad
Yeah.
cabinet handles. I had the only
This is the
TV.
stuff Doug's complaining
This is really
about.
it's hey, you
No, I
spent
believe you, it's just there's
8
some humor in
days
that.
8 days in the same room and you can't move.
Yep,
You can shift around in bed sort of, and the bed sits up. That's what you got.
yep,
And yeah, and I tried to occasionally watch a football game or 2 when they were on, or maybe like there was a lot of South Park on when I was in there, so I guess I
okay.
watched a lot of that, but my TV was the only one where the color was messed up on it too. Like, so I'd be taking my walks later and all the other TVs have like perfect color. I couldn't even watch good TV.
No breaks for you, man.
No, no, it was, well, the other thing that kinda got me through it too, even though I mean, I had it was rough, like, it emotionally, it does drain you when you're just sitting there, especially, like, the last couple of days, I'm just waiting for a pacemaker,
Yeah,
over the weekend, and, like, I gotta get out of here, like, I am not happy anymore, things ache, like, even sleeping, like, your back hurts and stuff like that, but there are people in there who had worse situations than I did. I mean, even
yeah,
pre-surgery, my roommate and on the other side of that curtain, he was waiting on a heart transplant, and he had already had, like, a surgery or 2 there already, to fix whatever was going on with him, and at the time, I could still at least walk around, he couldn't even get out of bed for
yeah,
anything, while he's just waiting, pre-second surgery, and yeah, so there are plenty of people there who had worse situations than I did, and I tried to remind myself of that, just, could always be worse,
yeah. Well, glad you got through it
but it still
with the
sucked.
best possible outcome, even though it sucked. Glad you got through it. It gave me a chance to get closer with your wife, which was cool. It was good to get to
Don't
know
make
your
it
wife a
weird.
little bit. It's just good to know your wife a little better, and
Yeah.
I'm really sorry you had to go through all that, but it is good to have you back, and
Happens.
you do look good, man, like, you look fantastic.
Well, it's been 6 weeks or something since the major surgery now, so or I guess more like 7 now. Anyway,
Mm.
yeah, yeah, it was a trip, just say that.
You're probably not able to roughhouse with the kids yet and do all that yet since you can't move your arm, you still
No,
got stuff
no,
going on.
I'm the first 6 weeks are the big ones where they're like, "Don't lift more than 10
Yeah.
pounds," even and then, I'm trying to help carry Christmas gifts, and just for fun, my mom weighed one of the bags, and it was like 25 pounds, and I was like, "Whoopsies," like,
Yep.
I didn't feel anything, whatever.
Guess I'm
But
good, right?
well, the next 6 weeks, I'm supposed to still take it easy and all that, even though it's not official, so I'm gonna try to be a semi good boy for at least a couple more weeks, but
Are you working again?
it's I'm starting up soon. I
Okay.
have now I've had I mean, I literally had another echocardiogram this morning, and I have to go back up to Cleveland next week for a follow-up and checking on the pacemaker, and then I have another doctor consult, and so I decided to just get through all those
Yeah.
couple of extra appointments, because otherwise it'd be like, "Hey, guys, I'm back to work. Oh, by the way, I'm leaving for a couple of days in a row. See you
Right.
later."
Yeah, I'm back, but not really.
Right, so I
Don't be
just
mad.
said, yeah, I'm gonna start up again soon, so that'll be good to get back into it, I think, and just be normal again. But you know what? It is so annoying to watch your wife do everything, like
Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
like getting your kid in the car seat out of the car, like something that I used to always do because he's kinda heavy now, and, like, it's and of course, she's like, "No, please, for the love of God, don't do it. I don't need you doing something stupid and ending up back in the hospital again for anything, like, just go away." But
Yeah,
still, it's
but it's
I
hard.
wish I could be more helpful even now, I just we'll get there.
No. Glad you're on the
Yeah.
other side. Glad that we're back. This makes me happy. How are you feeling right now? Have I kept you up too late already? Like, I know you can't sit still for too long without getting edgy and antsy right now. You feeling all right?
Oh, no, I'm calm right now, so I'm still not normal, clearly.
Oh, yeah, clearly. Clearly there's something wrong.
Yeah.
Should we talk about something that'll make you less calm then? Do you want me to agitate
Yeah,
you? Do we have
sure, why
something?
not? It's funny when I get a little bit animated, I can, like, feel it, like my scar heats up. It's like a really crappy X-Men power or something.
Sure. Yep.
Uh,
We talked
and that
about
was
bad
the
superpowers once. That was a
yeah,
fun one.
that was the worst part too, was I was apparently really, really bad at keeping people updated, like, kept my phone off for, like, a week
Yeah.
going into the surgery, so it was like, "Whatever, like, I might be dead, so let's just turn the phone off," who knows? But, then I booted it back up and I like, just start responding to people, and then I think, I saw a thing about Lake Rupkund,
Oh,
the
cool.
Rupkund Lake or
Yep.
whatever. I'm like, "Oh, yeah, Tom likes this. I'm gonna send this, fun little factoid to Tom." And so I'm already sitting at home for, like, a week.
Yep.
Like, I've already been home from all this and, "Oh, here you go, Tom. Check this out. Here's fun." And Tom goes, "Oh, how'd the surgery go?" And I was
Yeah.
like, "Whoops."
Yeah.
I
The last
didn't
the last I had heard, your wife was like, "Yeah, he gave me his phone. He doesn't want his phone, and he's going in for surgery and da 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 da." And I didn't hear a word from Doug, like not
just, like,
fucking
didn't
one word.
I didn't
And then a
talk to
week later,
anybody.
he's like, "Oh, here's a fun article."
It
Like,
was,
"Wait,
like,
you're
3
you're
weeks.
alive. Cool,
Yeah,
man."
yeah.
Like, "Oh
It was,
yeah,
like,
whoops,
3
I'm
weeks.
home."
Let's be real. This was,
Yep,
like,
I
3
was
weeks
trying to be
later.
generous. I was trying to be nice. But yeah,
Yeah, so
Doug was like, "This guy who cares about me and is trying to help and is trying to reach out, like, fuck him. He doesn't even know how I'm doing.
it
It's
was, like,
okay."
family members too, like, I'd get texts, I'd even some of my own, like, group of, like, high school buddies who are around town. I texted one of them, and he's just like, "Oh, hey, did you have the surgery yet?" And I was like, "Yeah, I've been good. I've been out for, like, a month now. Sorry."
Think we can all show you a little grace. There's a lot going on there, and I don't think most of us would handle that well. I think we can understand and give you
Yeah.
a little bit of grace.
Yeah.
Just
Oh,
don't ever do it again.
yeah, we forgot too, you briefly mentioned it, and I said, "Oh, yeah, we'll get to that," but we didn't. This infection is the kind of nasty where what it did, it now this is weird too. So it caused what they called a brain shower with it flowing through your blood, and what it caused, they said
Is it
it's
because you have such a dirty mind? Is that what this is?
clearly, or it's
Yeah.
part of my, like, space-time theory,
There you go. Ooh,
but
I like that.
this brain shower, they said what it did is it essentially caused what they call a series of mini strokes,
Mhm.
and
It sounds horrible.
it sounds horrible, but all the doctors were like, "Oh, yeah, it caused so many strokes, but, all the tests afterward show you're good, so, like, we're not worried." And then they, like, walk away and like, "Excuse me, you just said the word stroke and you don't care?"
No, not
So
stroke, strokes with
right,
an S,
exactly.
plural.
Yeah, so what it does is it basically just, like, fucks up your brain for, like, sort of the time-ish it was happening,
Yeah.
but in almost every single case, and they'd have the couple of tests to do it, they're like, "Okay, you're fine now." And, like, they gave me this, I actually knew what was happening. They give you this test to test your cognitive ability after the fact, and if you get, X number right, like, you're good. And, so I passed that with flying colors, so, like, no one gave a shit about me. But, yeah, these little spores from the infection, like, fly into your brain through the blood flow, and they can actually cause you to, like, forget things. So, when I talked about going to the hospital, going through security and all that stuff, I remember stopping at, like, the signs leading into the hospital, like, my wife's driving and I'm sitting in the passenger seat and she's like, "Which way should I go?" And I'm like, "Oh, go straight because that leads around to, like, the, main doors or whatever." And I don't remember anything after that for, like, a day.
Yeah.
And she goes, I asked where my, like, Leatherman was, my tool, like, my multi-tool. I'm like, "Where's my multi-tool?" And she goes, "Oh, it's with security." And I'm like, "Oh, security took it?" And she was like, "You handed it to him." I was like, "What?" And then you made a joke about the knife blade, and he kinda laughed at you, and then we kept walking, and I was like, "What?" And then she goes, "Oh, yeah, and then someone came in to talk about, their financial aid packages." And I was like, "What?" "Yeah, you signed the paper." And I was like, "What?"
No
Like, I
memory.
signed I nothing. And the
Wow.
worst part is, like, it's when people tell you things that happened that you kind of forget, and you can sort of maybe it kind of recall, you get, like, a
It rings
flash
a
of
bell.
memory,
Yeah.
yeah, or at least you can sort of construct something that sort of makes sense, and you can sort of believe it.
Sure.
Nope,
Wow, just a blank canvas all the way.
completely gone.
Wow.
There's this yeah, 8, 10-ish, 12-ish hour stretch where it's just poof, gone, don't know. And
Wow.
it's probably never coming back, and I asked the doctors about it, and they're like, "Yeah, but you're fine now." It's like, "No, like, fuck you guys."
Stop
Like,
telling me I had strokes and that I'm fine. Stop that
yeah,
now.
like, they just don't care. They just don't care. I mean, like, it reminds me that it's only the second time this happened when they say a word and you're like, excuse me? This is completely different." But I literally, again, I have just such a weird medical history. I basically had a shingles outbreak on my neck when I
Eek.
was yeah, I can't remember how old I was. I think I was 16 or 17 or
Yeah, it's not
something. It
supposed to
was
happen
just
until you're much
it
older.
was
Yeah.
right, that's one of those, like, 65, 55
Right.
plus kinds of deals, shingles, period, and then on your neck is apparently a goofy sight, but I had this nice big, you know, 1 inch by 2 or 3 inch thing there,
Hmm.
and, uh and for the backdrop, my mother is a now retired physician. She did ER work for a while, so she has a good, like, general knowledge, and when you work in a hospital for, like, decades, you get to know everybody.
Yeah.
So she calls up her favorite, like, skin doctor guy and is like, "Hey, you gotta see my kid," and, nepotism wins again. He's like, "Yeah, sure, whatever."
Yeah.
And so does the exam, and then we're standing there. I'm standing there with them, and they go into doctor dialogue, and they just start talking, and I'm hardly understanding anything. Blah, 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 blah. And my mom looks at him and goes, "Oh, so it's herpes?" And he goes, "Oh, yeah, definitely." And they keep talking, and I literally interrupted them, and I'm like, hello, excuse me,
Yeah. Hold on.
wait a minute." And they both look at me like, "What?" Like, they just and I think I just went, "I have herpes?" And they're like, "Oh, yeah." And that's when I learned all about herpes. We actually all have it inside of us. There are 3 types. The one that we all know that's an STD is the second type.
Okay.
Shingles is the third type, and literally when you get herpes, it's just being activated inside you. It's just something that
Huh.
activates it. You don't, like, catch it or anything.
Okay.
And so I decided that I should not tell people that I had neck herpes because it's really hard to explain that, I think, to anybody.
I think
So,
I'm gonna build that into your introduction. This that's gonna be written
I
in the
mean, you should.
script.
I affectionately called it nerpes. So
Nice.
that was just me. But yeah, that's the second time when someone said something and then just like walked away and I'm like, okay, you need to stop right now and tell me what the hell's going on here. You can't just say the word herpes or stroke and then walk away from me.
Yeah, those are
How
things that
dare
we need
you?
some context for, please. Please give me some elucidation on that point.
Yeah. It's just yeah, sorry about that, guys. I'm sorry I was, having a majorly invasive surgery for the second time. I mean, you think I would have learned by now.
Yeah, never learn
Fool
his
me
lesson,
once,
this guy.
shame on you.
But he's back, and we're back, and I'm happy about it, and
Ugh.
this I missed you, man, this is good.
Yeah, ridiculous. Well, that was more than 20 minutes, sorry.
It was. Do we wanna call it and just let this episode be about that, or do we still wanna talk about the other topics?
No, no one wants to hear about my like, it's kinda cool, but then it's like, okay, so this is all about Doug and his stupid surgery.
I
Let's
don't
talk
think
about something
anyone's
more
hearing this and
entertaining.
saying that exactly. I think most of our listeners are a little more empathetic than that.
Oh,
I
okay, well,
I would hope.
that's really nice of you guys, thanks. I wouldn't be. I'd be like, "Okay, that's kinda cool." Is there anything else you got?
Alright, what story do we want next? We got some ground to make up. What do you want
I don't know.
next?
Well, if we really wanna okay, well, you had the lie that could have ended badly, but you got
Ugh,
lucky. And then we
yes.
have ghost elephants, and then we have your bathroom story which was
Yes.
awesome, by the way, I love that.
Yep.
There's the lost banana shipping container, there's the McDonald's worker hospitalized after reaching into the air fryer, and for, John, was it? We need to give the Bonnie Blue update.
Oh, I
And
thought it
the
was Lily
problem
Phillips, right?
or
Wasn't
Lily
it?
Phillips, sorry.
Yep.
Yes? Actually, I think you're right, I think it was
I
Lily
I
Phillips.
think if it was
You're
Bonnie
right.
Blue, the water would have evaporated and it would have been a different story.
Well, she's not Satan.
Are we
I don't
sure about
think.
that?
No, not 100%. I mean, it could be anybody.
Alright. I'll
But
start
yeah,
with
I
the
think
lie
you're right.
then,
It's
'cause
Lily Phillips. You're right, and yeah, and that's the problem is if I'm not sure I can keep that one short. I mean, there's so much you can take the theology route and everything.
so maybe we save that one for next time. So let's
I don't
break
know.
down the ones we have. Let's pick, like, 2 or 3 because 'cause we're already at about an hour. So
Already?
already, yeah.
Yikes! Sorry,
No,
guys.
it's all good. So the lie is a potential it was all an almost dad fail, and then we
Mm.
had a lice outbreak in the school that finally hit my kids, and that feels like a dad fail. I will tell one of those 2 stories tonight if you'd like, and then you pick something else, and that'll keep us relatively short, I think.
Well, I want the lie.
Okay.
and the bathroom story is great, and the lice
Oh,
too. I
that one
mean,
too, yeah.
I'm willing to listen to an abridged version of that too, because we had a lice report in our one daughter's class, and,
Okay.
we don't think we have any of it, on our end. We've checked now, the 2 days, but it came, right on the heels of Tom, so this must be a
National thing now.
potentially international incident,
Could
along with
be.
the cheese recall.
Oh, and I have a Greenland theory we should talk about at some point too.
Oh,
That you'll
that'll
like
be
the
good.
Greenland theory, but that might be for another episode because it might get a
I'm
little
less
too
versed
deep.
on that, but I will welcome that.
Okay, I'll start with the lie then, because that's one you said you wanted. So we've talked about being a dad, and one of the bitches of being a parent in general is that you don't have a playbook, and therefore you make mistakes as you go. And we've lovingly called these dad fails. We had a moment about 3 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago. I think it was about 2 weeks ago, where one of my kids lied to me, and it was kind of an important thing. So Bridget, for those who know, my wife, was she had a TBI back in October, and she's mostly recovered from that. She's functioning again, she's working again. And in fact, she ran a marathon this last weekend for the first time in her life in honor of our friend Krista that we talked about episode, I don't know, 16ish, beat
17, 16,
17.
17,
Yeah, it was
something
the
like
be
that.
your own kind of weird episode. We lost our friend Krista way too early to cancer. And Bridget went and ran a marathon to raise money for the Gray Matter team and for brain cancer research. And it was the Disney marathon she went to run. So Bridget has been training for this thing for over a year and wasn't going to let some little brain injury get in her way, because that's my wife. She's tough like that.
Obviously.
Yeah. So she left last week on, actually, I'm getting into the life story now. Sorry. We're going to go back. She was training for the marathon, and she had a long run one morning, a 4-hour run. And I think it was a 20-mile run. It was the last really long run she had to do for training. Like after this, you just do it. Your body's in shape. So they trust you can just do the full 26 too. So she woke up and she left the house at like 5 a.m. to go up to this big trail that crosses into Rhode Island, Connecticut. It's a nice long trail and it's a good place to run. And she left at like 5:30 in the morning. I had been sick and I wasn't feeling well, and I'd had kind of a late night the night before. Not like super late, but for me late. I woke up the next morning and I was hurting, and I got up and I was stretching, and I opened a book and like, I'm going to take 10 minutes and I'm going to sit and just read in my bed for 10 minutes. The kids are already downstairs. They're already taking care of themselves. I didn't make my way downstairs until probably 8 o'clock. I think it was a little after 8 a.m., which for me is weird. For my kids not to see me till then is weird, but they gave me that much peace and quiet. And I wasn't feeling well, so I was trying to take it. I finally get downstairs a little after 8, and my two oldest kids are already downstairs in the basement, in the playroom, playing online Roblox with each other. Like they're already doing that. And my youngest is sitting in the living room and she's watching TV. And I walk down and Cassie says, Daddy, hi, can you make me breakfast? Like, oh gosh, you haven't had breakfast yet? Yes, of course. And as I'm talking to her, she tells me what she wants. I go in the kitchen, I start firing up breakfast. And it suddenly dawns on me, like, my dog hasn't greeted me. Where's my dog always greets me when I wake up in the morning. He usually jumps all over me. Where's my dog? So I start looking around for Remy and I don't see him. He's not sleeping anywhere downstairs that I can see. And he's not upstairs in our bedroom. Like he wasn't there when I woke up. So I have no idea where he is. So I got in the basement and I called down, hey, has anyone seen Remy? Is he down there with you guys? No, Dad, haven't seen him. Like, okay. I go and look outside and it's like 28 degrees outside, 26 degrees outside. And he's hooked up to a runner, to a leash outside, just forgotten about. And I'm like, I let him in and he's cold, obviously. And I let him in and I'm kind of freaking out, like, buddy, you all right? I'm rubbing him, I'm petting him. He seems fine, but he's very cold. And I start thinking, how long were you out there? And I asked Cassie, and she doesn't know. I asked the kids, hey guys, like, did one of you let Remy out and forget about him? No, Dad. No, Dad. Mom must have put him out before she left. So in my
Yeah,
head,
right
he's
before her 4-hour run.
right. So in my head, my dog's been outside in freezing conditions for like 3 hours now, but I assume she left sometime between 4 and 5. He could have been out there for 4 hours. So I'm worried about my dog. Do I need to worry about hypothermia? Do I need to wrap him in blankets? He seems to be doing fine. Like this is a dog, mind you, I thought I was going to fight a bobcat for at one point. Like I love my dog and I'm going to take care of my dog, right?
Just get a husky, it'll be like, "No, I'd rather stay out here."
Way too much fur in my house. I could do that. So I'm worried about the dog and I call all the kids up. I text Bridget and then I ask her, and she says, "No, I brought him back in. Desi was there when I did it. You know, he knows I brought him in. I don't know how long he's been out there." So I call the kids upstairs. I'm like, "Hey guys, so mom said she brought him in. I need to know how long the dog's been out for. Who put him outside?" And no one raises a hand. Nobody wants to admit that they put him outside, hooked him up on a runner, and forgot him outside in the cold. And I started to get really upset about this, like almost irrationally upset, because this is one of those high character moments where your character is being tested, your integrity is being tested, and I expect you to rise to the occasion. Like my kids are 10, 8, and 5, or not even 5, like 10, 8, and 4. I don't know why my expectation was so high, but I was really upset that
They're
no
basically
one.
adults now. They're
Right.
halfway there, that,
Yep.
obviously.
So no one owned up to it and no one fessed up. And I got real, real mad and completely forgot that I had the magic hack of like, let me look at your eyes and see whose eyes turn green. I completely forgot that we had this like beat into their brain. I was just so upset. So they lost all screens. They lost all anything fun. They lost. Immediately go clean up. You're cleaning up the basement. You're cleaning up downstairs. We're about to clean toilets. Like for quite a few days, they had no tablets, they had nothing fun, they had nothing, and nobody would own up to it. And I played every card I had, I tried everything I had, and I knew who did it. By talking to them, I knew exactly which child it was. It was very obvious, not a good poker face on my oldest. Clearly, Alex was the one who put him on the runner to let him out and then forgot about him. And I was really upset that it was her because if it was, one of the younger two, for some reason in my head, I was more willing to forgive that because my expectations are lower. You're younger, I get that. But for my oldest to lie to me
Sucks being
about
the
this.
oldest.
Yeah, it
You got
does.
more responsibility. Sorry
Yep.
about your luck. Yeah.
And she started trying to blame the other ones. Like she tried to blame Desi specifically. She started making him feel bad. We'd be sitting in the car driving somewhere, and they'd ask if we could do something. And I was like, nope, not until I know what happened to Remy. And they would get upset. And then she'd be like, Desi, I can't believe you're letting him do this to us. You should just own up to what you did. Like I'm going to fall for that, right? And so we dealt with all of this nonsense for a few days. And
Man, days.
yeah, it
Oh,
was days. And
gosh.
I gave them nothing back. And I threatened to take away everything. And where the dad fail really comes into place is that I made threats I don't know that I could have enforced. Like it was a
Mhm.
dumb mistake where I threatened to do things that honestly I probably couldn't have pulled the trigger on. So Alex is involved in drama camp at school right now, and they're both enrolled in karate, and they both are enrolled in basketball. And I threatened to take all of those things away. Like I'm not going to let you go play basketball. You're going to miss your games. I'm going to make you sit there on the bench, wearing your jersey, watching your team play, and you're not going to get in the game. We're not going to go to karate. I'm going to make you go, but you're going to sit and watch the other kids do it, and you're not going to participate. You're not going to get to go to drama camp. And I went to the point where we've got a big family vacation plan. The second time we've had a big family vacation plan. It's not something we've been in a position to do very often, but we are in a good place right now, and we've got a really fun one set up. And I threatened to take that away. I said, "Listen, at this point, like if I don't find something out here soon, I'm going to take away Disney World. You guys aren't going to get to go to Disney." And there's no way in the world my wife would have ever let me take that actually away. And so I'm making threats that I know I can't enforce. And as I'm saying some of these things, I'm like, "Oh, Tom, that's a mistake. Oh, Tom, that you can't do that. Stop." And I thought this to myself every time, but I couldn't stop myself over the course of a few days. I took everything away. They came home from school or they came home and cleaned, like woke up, got clean. Everything was clean, clean, clean. Do exercises, do push-ups, like I worked my kids. And there was no fun in their life for like 3 days. And they finally went over to Granny's house one day. Granny was watching them,
I'm
so I get
scared
some
of your
stuff
oldest
done.
by now, by the way.
Oh, she's a beast in the basketball court right now. We can
My
talk
kids
about
my
that later
kids would
too.
have broken real quick. I still can break them.
Well, and the longer she didn't break, the longer it made me mad because I knew it was her.
Right.
And the longer I was lied to, the more it hurt and the more disappointed I was. And so the more I dug in. And I don't remember what it finally was. There was something that they were going to go do with mom one day, and they were at Granny's house. And I said, "Listen, I'm going to try to reboot. I want you to talk to them. If you have time, talk to them and explain to them that I'm upset and that we talked. Give them a chance to talk to you. Maybe they'll talk to someone, other than me about this, and maybe they'll come clean to you and we can go from there. But explain to them that daddy is kind of at a breaking point and he's going to have a real serious talk with them this evening." And and no one wanted to tell Granny about it either. And so I picked him up in the car, and we stopped. I parked the car at the end of we had a really long driveway at the house. And I parked at the end of the driveway and said, listen, this is where Daddy stands right now. I am going to take away all of these things, and you're not going to get them back. And if this goes on another day or two, I'm going to throw your tablets in the trash, and I'm going to unplug the computer and the switch, and I'm going to keep them unplugged. You're not going to get those again. I'm going to start taking away your stuffed animals. I'm going to start taking away your books. And that was where my kids could have been like, yeah, right, Dad, you take away our books. Like, I'm such a bibliophile. There's no way I would ever do that. But I said, and I explained to them why I was upset. I finally said, look, this is an integrity thing. Mommy and I raised you to be a certain kind of person, and there are certain things we have to be able to trust. And I have to be able to trust your integrity. And I walked into it and explained I wasn't just angry, I was hurt, and I was upset, and I was sad. And I kind of laid it all out there, and kind of went like way further than your kids probably need to be guilted. Like, this was like Catholicism level guilt poured onto my kid's head. It was crazy coming from me.
Nah, it's not that harsh.
Oh, it was pretty bad. Like, I laid it on really thick.
You haven't gotten to tithing yet, so no, you're still good.
That's fair. But I laid it on thick enough that we got home, and my boy went right upstairs to shower without saying a single word. And my youngest one just like sat at the table and like cried about how unfair this was. You know, like making a 4-year-old cry, you're doing something pretty wrong as a parent usually. And my oldest came and sat down on the couch with tears coming down her face and was like, Daddy, it was me. Like, I know. Like, it's about time. So I got bailed out at the end of like what was almost a very serious dad fail that I didn't know how to navigate because I'd never been there before. I'd never been in this situation before. And I went real angry, and I was even Bridget was like, you're being a little too harsh about this. And I was upset because this could have affected my dog's life. This could have been, a serious thing. I went way over the deep end on this, and I was so upset that something important was being lied to me about from my kid who I trusted. And my kids are young enough. I need to be like, yeah, they're probably scared. Like, at the end of the day, they're probably just reasonably scared to tell you about this mistake they made. But it felt almost like a dad failed because I wasn't that safe space for my kid to tell me anything. Like, we've talked about this, where you have to be sort of the boundary of your kids that they run into when they do something wrong, but also that safe place that they land after they bounce off that wall. Like, you have to be both of those things as a dad. And I really felt awful that my kids didn't trust me enough to tell me this, that they would be scared to tell me the simple truth. And of course, me being me, I extrapolated it to years down the road. Like, well, what's going to happen when something really awful happens to one of my kids? What happens if one of my kids gets, sexually assaulted and they're afraid to talk to me about it? Or what if one of them commits a crime and won't talk to me about it? Or like, I went to all the worst case scenarios, like 8-10 years down the road in my head. And it felt really awful that my kid wouldn't trust me enough or was scared of me enough that they couldn't tell me the truth. And I'm really lucky we got there. I'm really lucky that last push, the guilt trip, broke through somewhere, because I had made a lot of threats I couldn't enforce. And that's one of those things I've always said from a leadership perspective when you're in charge of people, and from a parenting perspective, is don't make a threat that you're not willing to carry out, that you can't carry out. Because once you get called on it and it fails, you've got no teeth left, and you lose a lot of authority, and you lose your ability to do certain things. And man, I about gave that up, like, in a very real way. It's the first time in a long time Bridget and I have been on opposite sides of a coin for parenting, and there was just no meeting each other in the middle. I had dug my heels in so deep. I was not giving up on this. And it was, I'm just going to call it the lie. And it was a pretty awkward moment for me. It was probably about 4 or 5 days total.
I've changed my opinion. I'm actually scared of all of your kids. First one for not giving in for so long, and the other two for not just like taking one for the team to get their stuff back.
Yeah, right.
Because there had to be some motivation to be like, maybe I'll just take the blame and get our things back.
No, my kids are stubborn like me. They're definitely,
Obviously.
My wife and I are both a little bit on the stubborn side, and the kids got a little bit of that. So
It's funny you mentioned that, though, because tonight, our oldest went through a string of not listening. Like, go up, get your jammies on. Okay. 5 minutes later, we don't have any pajamas on.
Yeah.
Oh, my little brother distracted me. Oh, yeah? Is that why he's in a different room now and you're in a different room than your pajamas because he was distracting you? And then it was, come here so we can brush your teeth, and she's not coming. And then she's, it was like 5 things, rapid fire, boom, 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 of not listening, and then kind of like blaming somebody else on something. And I had like a moment. I just kind of went off on her. And she was looking for a specific toy to sleep with just because she wanted to. She has some weird rotation of these things. I don't understand it.
Yep.
But she was being like a butthead to both of us and just not listening. And when we tried to explain why we wanted something, she would interrupt, and like I just got real hot. So I grabbed this toy and I went, "It's going in the trash right now if you don't stop this."
Yep.
By this time, she was like crying and bouncing around and acting like a 2-year-old, and I sat there, and right as I said this, in my head, I'm going, "I really don't wanna have to throw this out."
Yep. Been there. Yep.
You know? And, like, if I was being a literalist, I would have been walking away twice already to throw it in the trash, but I'm trying to act like I really
Yeah.
I'm serious, but also don't make me do it.
Please don't make me do this. I can't walk back from this point. Please don't make me
Right.
cross this line.
Yeah, so and yeah, I'm just sitting there thinking maybe I shouldn't have gone right to that right away. I should have just done the whole "you lose it for tonight or a day" or something like that first, but I went right to, "It's going in the trash."
Yep. And I guess that's the dad advice here is don't do that, right? Like you got to
Just
find somewhere else to go
radiance.
first.
You gotta
Yeah.
find
Yeah.
you just try to parse it out a little bit more and then, move forward from there.
Yeah. Don't drop the nuke first,
I
especially if you're
f
not really willing to drop it.
I find it interesting that you went with this, like, who did it, and then you kinda found out real quick, and you stuck with the very original, like, who did it thing. Because for us, when we kind of know, we figure out who did it, at least for our style, we usually try to find a way to be like, "Yeah, you did this." And
Yeah.
and so the others don't suffer, but I think I don't know, our kids are, slightly different stages, different levels. Like, we don't have that whole "we know you did it" thing really only works with our oldest right now because she kinda gets it,
Yeah.
and almost all the time when one of us says, "Oh, I know it was you," she goes, "How do you know?"
Well, that's easy.
Yeah. Or one time my wife did this thing where she goes, "I know you did it," and she goes, "How?" And then my wife goes, "I didn't actually know if you did it, but you just
Because you admitted it
just
now.
admitted it now," and you could see this look on my daughter's face where it was just like shame/betrayal.
Yeah.
She was just like, "Ah."
Well, the big thing for me wasn't even the incident. I mean, it was a simple mistake. You let the dog out and you just get
Right.
distracted, and I get that. And there would have been no issues if she just said, "Oops, that was me." Like we would have had a talk about being careful about letting Remy out on his leash, when it's cold outside, putting him on his runner when it's cold. We would have had a talk about it, but there would have been no punishment. There would have been nothing, no trouble. But for me, it wasn't about saying, "Hey, I know you did it. I know it was you. I know you're guilty of this." It was about getting them to admit it and take ownership of it. It was about getting someone to do
Right,
the
not, "I
right
know you
thing.
did it, own up to it." It's
Right.
more
I
like own
wanted
up
someone
to
to
it
step
when
up.
it's
Yeah.
on you, yeah,
Yep.
to
And I
do this
wanted that
part.
moment. I wanted
Alright,
someone to
fair.
show integrity and to know what that was like, and I thought
But,
I
like,
thought it was gonna be a good teaching moment.
what happens if another kid
Yeah.
tries to just take one for the team, though? Now what do you do?
Well,
What do you say?
a
"No, I know
and
it's not you," and now the
and,
jig is up.
my son offered to do that, like, day 3. He said something about it, and I was like, "Nope, that's not how it works." But the way he did it was like, "Dad, would it be okay if I just said I did it even though I didn't?" And I was like, "Buddy, you're missing the point." And that was part of that talk in the car. That was actually a big part of
Right.
that conversation. It was like, it's important to me. I think I said at one point, I know which one of you it is. Like, I think I said that in the car.
Oh, yeah, see,
Um,
and that's what did it, though. It's like, "Oh,
yeah. And
he
so I should
knows."
have taken that path in the first place, I guess. But but no, I wanted to hear them admit it. It wasn't about the act. It was about making it right and owning it. And it was about
Right.
taking that step and showing some
Admitting when you
integrity.
might not even know.
Yeah.
The proactive, alright, fine, I
Right.
guess I could see that. I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe it's just a sibling thing. We're right now we're dealing with this, from our oldest, like, once again. If something's not where it needs to be, "Oh, middle child must have taken it," and we're
Yeah.
like, "Did you see her take it?" "No."
But it must have been.
It must have been I mean, like, once or twice, I "Oh, middle child must have taken it," and I call in younger child, and he walks in carrying the thing that she's missing, and I'm just like,
Yep.
"Uh-huh, yeah, you're so sure of yourself, aren't you?"
Yeah, don't accuse. We gotta
2
work on
times
that.
I've been able to been like, "No, it wasn't." "Yes, it was. Who else it could it have been?" And I was like, "It was me. I moved it because I stepped on it." Like, your own father moved it. Stop blaming your sister.
Oh gosh, parenting's the best.
Ugh. It is just parenting is that one thing that just you can't possibly describe it to someone who's not a parent. and I'm gonna maybe upset 3 of our listeners right now, but if you have a furry child, like a dog or a cat, and you think it's kind of like having a
It's
kid,
not.
it's not. I'm sorry. Like, you can love your dog and your cat, and yet it is responsibility. Like, you do have to feed it and let it out and go for and like, you have to care for this other living thing, but it is absolutely nothing like caring for even one child. It's not the same at all. You think you're simulating even a little bit, you're not. I'm sorry. Dogs don't wear
I'll disagree
diapers.
with that. No, I'll disagree with that. I
I
think that's the
completely
first.
disagree with it.
No, I'm disagreeing with your point. I think it is.
I know, I do. I am, and I'm disagreeing with your disagreement.
Oh,
You know,
that's fine.
I mean, our son, technically, we probably could have just put food in a bowl on the floor, and he would have figured that out, by 1-year-old, to be
Yeah.
fair. Like, there are a lot I've found that the whole boy and his dog trope is a real thing because my parents' dog and he are, like, best buddies.
Okay.
Like,
Okay.
they're actual friends. My daughters treat this dog like another plaything. That's fun when they go over there every so often, but my
Interesting.
son, they're like friends. Like, they definitely hang out and do stuff together. So, there are a lot of common behaviors between little boys and dogs, as it turns out. But
Well, my point on it is that when you get a pet, that's for a lot of people, that's the first time where your time is no longer your what you want to do is no longer the most important thing in your life. You no longer get to just do what you want. You have to subjugate some of your wants and desires for someone else because you can't just go on vacation for 3 or 4 days. You can't just leave all night and not come back until late in the morning.
well, yeah,
You
stop
you,
by
you have
every
to
6 or 8 hours or something. I mean,
right.
yeah, that's
And
fair,
you have
but
to do training, but it's the first time for a lot of people that they are no longer the most important thing in their universe. And I think in that case, it's slightly similar to kids because it's an introduction into subjugating yourself for the well-being of someone else. Like, it is that. That's why I think it is a little bit similar. You're right. It pales in comparison to it. It's
I was gonna say, but it's not another human, though. I mean, yes, there are laws against animal cruelty, but, like,
no, but you do love the pet, and there's a real love there, and
most usually.
there's a willing to fight bobcats and beavers for your pet and pit
I
bulls.
don't think people are like you with their pets. I don't think they go out chasing bobcats and beavers for
I
their
think
pets.
I think more people than you realize feel exactly like me. I don't think that was an abnormal behavior on my part.
I grew up with pets. I have plenty of I mean, well, again,
Well, yeah, but
maybe
we
I'm
we know something was wrong with your heart the whole time. We've already established
well,
that
that's
something's been
true.
wrong with your heart your whole life
That is
until
that
now.
is fair point, touche,
Yeah.
I'll give you that one. And I mean, to be fair, when one of our pets run away, I would even as a teen, I was thinking, "Dumbass, you better hope we find you before a car hits you." Like, that was legitimately my I'm not running through the neighborhood, I'm walking, being like, Where are you, stupid?" And, like, that's probably gotten worse. I would probably just be like, "I'll look for the dog in a minute."
I think I,
I
I
gotta
think I
finish
talked
this
about
up.
it all in the beaver episode, but for my
Mm,
dogs, I have risked my life amongst a herd of buffalo. I have fought a pit bull. I
I'm not
have
sure pets are good for you, actually.
they may not be. Yeah, they may be an
This
unacceptable risk in my
might be
life.
a net negative for Tom to own a
Well,
pet.
maybe, but Remy right now, to his credit, like I was sick yesterday and I was up sick, like vomiting all night, and I had issues. Like I'm not actually feeling well today.
I
And
mean,
Remy has stayed by my side and snuggled me and like been a little therapy dog, so that they provide me comfort when I needed to. It goes both ways.
not just confrontations with wild animals. Now they're putting you into bad parenting
Yeah, that's true.
situations. So,
That's fair. Yeah,
yeah, but no, you don't have to wake up at 1 a.m. and stay up until 5 a.m. feeding your new puppy.
that's
I'm
true.
sorry,
No,
you
I'm
don't
I'm
ever
I'm
have to
not
do that.
saying the level of rigor is the same. No, no, no. But I am saying that for a lot of people, that is the first time in their entire lives.
At least they both puke on you. I guess that's a similarity.
Yeah, my dog doesn't puke on me though. That
Well,
happens
like,
very
a
rarely.
sick puppy will every so often.
He
Like,
pukes on the carpet, like, not on you per se. I've never had a dog just throw up on me, I don't think. I've had one
oh,
pee on
really? You
me.
haven't had that?
I don't
Oh,
think
you
so.
should be in the car with a sick German Shepherd. See how you like it.
Oh, that sounds awful. Yeah,
Ooh,
no, I'm good.
it was very awful. Let me
No,
tell you,
thank you.
sir.
That sounds like a rough trip.
Oh, it
Ugh.
was yes. It was a laugh a minute.
Alright, what do you wanna talk about next?
I don't know. What else do we have? We had the Lily Phillips thing. We should save that for another
Okay.
time because that could really get involved.
Tell the bathroom story and we'll get the dad
Tell the
jokes?
bathroom story and do dad jokes. Yes.
I'm gonna save
That sounds like a
ghost
good
elephant
plan.
and lice for next time for sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ghost elephant's not that long, but yeah, that'll be good. Ghost elephants, lice, and Lily Phillips. We could probably work
It
that into
sounds
some.
like an episode.
We could we
Sounds
could
like a
work that
perfect
into some
title.
alliteration.
Yep, we can make that work. All right, so the bathroom story, I think I texted it to Doug. I think I just sent him like a long stream text on this one.
Oh, it's so good, and it has 2 twists. I
It
can't wait. I'm
does.
excited still.
So I had my two girls. We were at Foxwoods at the outlets. They've got the Tanger outlets there, and they've got like a claw arcade, which is basically just it's like an arcade, but just claw machines. Those rip-offs scam you. You put money in and try to pull a toy out, and it never grips the damn thing. But my daughter loves it, so they got gift cards to go to this thing for Christmas. So just after Christmas, taking my kids to the Clawcade and walking through the outlets, and we're just kind of having fun looking in windows, doing some window shopping. On the way back to the car, to the garage, they both had to use the bathroom. So you walk down this long hallway through the outlets, and when you get to the restroom, it's just a big open doorway, and women walk to the right and men walk to the left, and then you're in your respective room. So my girls go in and they walk right into the women's side. My oldest has got my youngest by the hand and she's going to help her if she needs help. And I'm feeling, pretty good about this. So I'm waiting outside the restroom. But right behind them, this older gentleman, probably 70, late 60s to mid 70s. He's got a Vietnam veteran's hat on his head. And he comes walking up behind them and literally just walks right into the women's room behind my daughters, which is an exact scenario we talked about in What Is a Woman, right?
And it's a male too, like,
Yep,
so it's, like, extra, like, whoa,
yep.
like, everything,
So
yeah.
so he goes to walk right into the women's room. I mean, not 3 seconds after my girl's going. So I stopped him and very politely said, "Excuse me, sir, excuse me. That's the women's room you're about to walk into." Yeah, he's an older gentleman. I figured he's making a mistake. And this woman behind me, before the guy can even respond, she goes off on me and starts snapping at me and tells me I need to worry about my own goddamn gender. Like, I don't know what exactly that means, but she's just lambasting me for misgendering this 70-year-old man who is allowed to be a woman in her mind. And I thought he was just making a mistake. But she goes off, and I am so ashamed to say I could not think of a witty comeback. In my head, I'm like, "Oh, great opportunity for put downs here." But she was speaking so damn fast and so loud, I couldn't think of anything snappy to say. And so she finally gives me, like, breathing room, and I don't have to say anything because as I'm trying to think of something smart to say, the guy looks at her and tells her to shut up. He's like, "Could you just shut the hell up? I got a penis. I just forgot my glasses today and couldn't read the sign." Turns around and walks into the men's room.
Uh,
And it was just the most beautiful, like, it was just so nice. It was just really, really nice. Like, he came walking out, he thanked me, and he walked out of the bathroom. She, like, disappeared, was nowhere to be seen. But yeah, she just blasted me for misgendering like a 70-year-old war vet. And, he gave it back to her, which was fucking fantastic. I kinda enjoyed it.
yeah, that was entertaining 'cause, the way you typed it had 2 different plot twists.
Oh, I don't remember how I typed it. I probably should just read it.
You did not explain that you thought he was making a mistake, you just saw a guy following your daughters into the bathroom, and that was
Oh,
it.
okay.
That was the context. I was like, "Oh, okay, I wonder where this is going."
Yeah. No, I thought he was making a
So,
mistake, and I was just, trying to be
yeah.
polite for the gentleman, yeah.
Well, I probably should still have no comment, but
Yeah, let's leave it there.
yeah, that's good.
Dad jokes?
Yeah, dad jokes. I One thing I did do while I was sitting on my butt in the hospital was I collected what I think are some real doozies. Some of them
Oh,
are kinda
nice.
long, but they're good. One of them, I'm worried that somehow you told it,
I'm
but
sure
I'm
that I
gonna t
probably did. I feel like
probably.
this is a common trend.
Let's see, I have, like, 4 or 5 of these actually, so I'll just do 2 for now because 'cause they're
Okay,
long, and then I'll do the 2 others next time. Alright. An Irish man walks into a pub. Oh, by the way, there's no guesses on this, these are just punchlines, I should note too, in case that wasn't clear.
yep.
An Irishman walks into a pub and orders 3 pints of Guinness. The bartender sets them down and the man sips from each pint in turn. A sip from the first, a sip from the second, a sip from the third. then repeats, round and round, until all 3 are empty. Then he orders 3 more. "You know," says the bartender, "you don't have to order 3 at once. I'll keep an eye on you and bring you a fresh one when you're low." "You don't understand," the man says. "I have 2 brothers, one in Australia, one in the States. We promised that every Saturday night we'd still drink together." So right now, they're in their local pubs sipping on 3 Guinness too. "Wow, that's a wonderful tradition," the bartender says. For weeks, the man comes in every Saturday night and orders 3 pints. Same time, same stool, same routine. 1 sip from the first, 1 from the second, 1 from the third. Then one Saturday, the bartender notices something's changed. The man orders only 2 pints. He drinks them the same way, alternating sips. And when they're empty, he orders 2 more. The next week, it's the same thing, and the week after that. Finally, one quiet evening, the bartender sets the glasses down and leans in. "I couldn't help noticing. You've been only ordering 2 lately. I think I know what that means, and I'm very sorry for your loss." The man looks up, completely calm. "Oh, my brothers are fine," he says. "I just quit drinking."
That's good. Did I ever say about the guy that drank the beer that I bought for someone I lost? Like, at every Memorial Day, I order a beer for someone that I've lost, and I
He
just let it
drank your
sit and drink.
libation?
Yeah, I never told you that story?
Mm-mm.
So, I was at Foxwoods Memorial Day a couple years ago, and wherever I am Memorial Day every year, I go somewhere and I order 2 beers, and I drink 1, and the other one I leave alone for Chad Billingsley, who's someone he was a drill sergeant when I was in the Army, and he was kinda special to our group. He was someone he built a real relationship with a lot of us in AIT. He mentored me through a lot of my Soldier of the Month competitions and a lot of the boards I went to, and my flight application process, he was helpful. He died in a motorcycle accident a while back. And every Memorial Day for him and for a couple of other people that, stand out, but mostly it's for D-Soy is what we call them. But a couple of other friends that we lost. I order myself a beer and I order one for the soldiers who aren't with me anymore and the friends who aren't with me anymore, and that one I leave alone. And I order it and I pay for it and it sits at my table and that's that. And I've never had a problem with this ever till like 3 years ago. I was at Hard Rock. I had been playing poker for Memorial Day. I had the day off. I was like, I'm gonna go play some cards. Bridget for that day is always like, you do what you need to do to get your head right. Always, whatever you want to do, this is your day. And so I went and I played cards for a few hours. And then I went to Hard Rock and I had a burger and ordered my 2 beers and drank one. And the guy who was waiting on me knew what it meant because he had known me from the year before, and I've talked to him a few times, and he knew what it meant. And I left the full beer at the table and paid my tab and tipped him and went to go leave. And a guy walking by was like, "Oh, can't waste that beer," and like picked it up and just drank it. And like the bartender was like coming across the room to get him because he was afraid I was going to be super offended by it, and I was not happy. I was like, "Wait, what the?" But at the same time, like, what are you going to do? It's a symbolic thing. But the guy literally just walked by my table, saw me sign my check and leave a tip and leave it, and just like, can't waste that. Just picked up a beer off a random
Free
table
beer.
and pounded it. Yeah. It's like, wow,
Did
you
you
couldn't
find
be
out
any
the
more of
guy's
a
name?
bro. No, I didn't.
It should have been Chad. I hope it was Chad.
It probably was. Uh,
Like, that would have been the real sign. Like, oh, yeah, I need to talk more to this person.
yep.
Something's going on here.
I probably should have looked into that a little bit more. All right.
Yeah, I've never heard that story.
Yeah, I thought I might have told that one here. I wasn't sure.
No, I don't think so. Unless I had another brain shower.
Lots of brain showers. Did you ever hear Rodney Dangerfield talk about open heart surgery? Did you ever hear his stand-up bit about it?
No.
So I'm not going to do it justice, but he's talking about, he had to go in for open heart surgery. He goes, and I'm talking to the doctor, and I asked the doctor, I said, how long can I expect to be in the hospital? Like, this is a really intimidating procedure. It's kind of scary. How long should I expect to be there? And the doctor says to me, he says, well, if everything goes well, about a week. If not, about 30 minutes.
Yep. Sounds about right.
Good old Rodney.
Yeah, that's a Rodney Dangerfield thing. All right. Second one. A man who had just died was delivered to the mortuary wearing a beautiful black suit. The mortician asked the deceased man's wife how she would like the body dressed. He points out that the man looks good in the black suit he's already wearing. The widow, however, said she thought her husband always looked his best in blue, and she would really like him in a blue suit. She then hands the mortician a blank check and says, I don't care how much it costs, but please have my husband in a blue suit for the viewing. The woman returns the next day for the wake. To her delight, she finds her husband dressed in a gorgeous blue suit with a subtle chalk stripe. Remarkably, the suit fit him perfectly. She says to the mortician, "Whatever this cost, I'm very satisfied. You did an excellent job, and I'm incredibly grateful. How much did you spend?" To her astonishment, the mortician presents her with her blank check, and he says, "There's no charge." Shocked, she replies, "No, really, I must compensate you for the cost of that exquisite blue suit." "Honestly, ma'am," the mortician says, "it cost nothing. You see, a deceased gentleman about your husband's size was brought in shortly after you left yesterday. He was wearing an attractive blue suit, so I asked his wife if she minded if her husband went to the grave wearing black. She said it made no difference so long as he looked nice." So from that point on, it was really just a matter of switching the heads.
Nice. I like that left turn. That's pretty good.
I actually saw that one in the hospital and like
That's pretty good.
spat out my food, which by the way was how I lost 20 pounds. Is just
Just
eat
hospital food.
eat hospital food and drink only water for a month.
That'll do it.
You'll lose weight, I promise.
Yep, that'll do it. So what's the worst thing you can hear during open heart surgery?
What's going on, guys?
Anything.
Anything? Yeah. Oh, that was miserable. They have a neckline that this is real. They have a neckline they put in you too during the surgery. Like I don't even you can still see the mark or not, but it's a gigantic IV that they put in mid surgery because if they ever need to feed you something real fast, that's like another direct shot into like it's literally in your jugular.
Sure, yeah.
And that's like it's like a whole box or whatever that actually sticks up. Like you could like push your head against it if you did it right at certain times. And so I was calling it my antenna when I was there in recovery.
I'm really sorry that you had to go through all this, but at the same time,
Everything.
it is really amazing what we can do with modern medicine.
Oh, it's real cool.
astounding.
It's a little less cool when you're the guinea pig, but
Sure.
otherwise it's pretty cool.
Yep,
With
it's
all the
much
stuff
cooler
that
from my
they
chair
can
than
do.
yours. Yes, I agree.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good.
All right, I
Yeah.
think we knocked some rust off. I think we're all right here.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's time to go.
I think it's time to go. Thank you for making it back. I'm sure it probably didn't feel great sitting up this whole time, sitting still, but it's good to see you again, man. And I'm glad that you're on the mend, and I'm glad you made it through this thing.
Yeah. I'm glad too.
Did you eat your Dunkaroos?
No, I only had
Oh.
like one. You know, it was so intimidating. and and I mean, I didn't have that and that was the other thing too. I ate like nothing
Yeah.
for the first 4 or 5 days after surgery. They would bring me food and I'd have like 2 bites of, pear in a cup or something and be like, "Yeah, I'm done." I didn't eat normally again until almost like 5 or 6 days after the surgery, and even then I wasn't right.
Yikes.
Took a while. Yeah, it's goofy. It's real goofy. After major surgery, your body usually reacts to major trauma
Yeah.
and it floods your system with fluid. So that was the other thing too. Like they were giving me stuff to force me to pee, and they're tracking how much you pee all the time to
Yeah.
make sure you're actually pumping out enough fluids. But I actually gained 9 or 10 pounds the day or two after the surgery because of
Wow.
all the extra fluid that your body like generates. The idea is that when you have trauma like that of any kind, the fluid kind of helps,
Stabilizes things. Yeah.
yeah, stabilizes it, floats it, makes it softer, less likely to be hurt again. And like it was so much that it was an extra 9 pounds of weight after the surgery for when I ate nothing.
Yeah.
It's the goofiest thing that somehow you find all this extra weight for some reason. So, yeah.
Well, welcome back. Glad you didn't die. I really
Yeah,
am.
me too. Be a lot quieter if I did, but that's the thing. I'm not allowed to die. My
It's true.
wife said so. She was like, "No, you you need to be around a while."
Yeah. You're not going to leave her with 4
You're-
kids all by herself. That would be a really selfish thing to do.
That would be selfish, but also I would be scared.
Yeah. Well,
Like ghost me would be horrified.
just come back and stay in one of their dolls. We've talked about this. Just pick a doll and stay in the doll.
Yeah, I would still be terrified. I'd be trying to hightail it out of there. I'd be getting as far away as possible. I don't want to get that wrath.
Thank you guys for listening. We should be back to recording weekly. We should be back in our plan and our routine. Yeah, thank you guys for staying with us and for hanging around.
Yeah, my bad. Sorry for the filler.
Go, Dad, go.
Go, Dad, go.